you for the colony. And in the prior videos we had issues where we could see the carbonite, but we actually didn't have any ability to mine them, which was kind of ridiculous. I thought I kind of messed up and thought it was still stock with, or not stock, it was part of the colonization mod, but I guess it was not anymore. So I went ahead and installed that, so we now have, where are those drills at? So now we have radial carbonite drills, and I believe there's also, yeah, ventral drill, something that goes on the bottom. They got the same amount that comes out of it, yeah. And also, another mod by Roverdo that has been dead for about a year and a half was asteroid mining technologies, which allowed you to grab asteroids and turn them, or no, asteroid recycling technologies. The mining technologies one is still broken, but with this one it allows you to, say, grab an asteroid, get it into orbit of somewhere, and then you can empty it of all its resources, and then use these distillers. This one here gives you metallic ore and substrate. This one gives you carbonite, water and minerals, and then these carbonite distillers, I think those are from actually the other mod, but those, and then this fuel hatch, which allows you to use it as a fuel base for the asteroid after you mine everything else, and mine everything out of it. And then there was another item. No, not the docking nose cone. I can't find the other item, but there is. Oh, it's the claw. It's right here. Or jaw, actually. It allows you to grab on real strong compared to the normal claw in the game. But enough of that. What we're going to be doing today is we're now going to set up for setting up the other base we need, the one that has carbonite and then minerals and substrate. And we're just going to do relatively the exact same thing we did with the prior one, except instead of worrying about getting enough power in this by bringing a solar base, we're just going to go ahead and plop one of these on it. They're a carbonite generator. It will use 1 carbonite a second and produce a ton of electric charge, and if we're lucky we should have, like, how much electric charge did it say it produced? So 500 a second. And with the drills we're going to be using, this uses only 6 electric charge, so it's highly likely the English, come on, this won't even really be at max capacity at any time, so it will be pretty much just at like 25%, meaning it's not going to use 1 carbonite a second. It's maybe going to be using 0.25, like 1 carbonite every 4 seconds, which means saving me a lot on resources. Oh yeah, I gotta do these separately. No, come on. So, metallic ore, no, we need substrate and water. Where is it? Ore, machinery, recyclables. Sorry about that ding, I forgot to shut Facebook. Wait, is there no more water? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. He actually changed the style of the tanks. So, we're gonna go and move this to water, which actually that's pretty cool. They switched it to that, because before it was they all looked the same, but it wouldn't really make much sense to have solid materials, or liquid materials in a solid container. It's better to have it in a spherical object. But what we are gonna do is, instead of putting everything on top like we did before, which usually just ends up causing a bit of issues, we're gonna go ahead and put the, I'm not very much able to English today for some reason, but we're gonna go ahead and put the landing tanks on the edge of this, instead of doing what we've done before multiple times, where we've had that little thing on top that always ends up screwing up on me, but that's mainly my fault. Not really paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay, let's see. Compact, no. We need to go to minimus. So this has a fair amount of thrust, but I do not want to use those actually, because these have terrible efficiency. So we're going to go and find a better efficiency engine. Like pretty much any engine is going to be good on minimus unless I'm flying a 1,000-ton craft and only using like 30 thrust. Like these might be good. A little bit better. So those are 345. The best option is probably going to be the Vadul. Oh, that's a... These are... Yeah, we're going to go ahead with my favorite engine, the impulse engines. 1,000 thrust, that's more than enough for our purposes. Once we get there, we'll probably land with a fair bit left. So we have those on there, and just for good measure, we're going to go ahead and throw at least 4 solar panels on it, because in case we land somewhere where we can't get carbonite right away, we need to hop. I don't want to run out of power, and it's always good to have just that little bit of extra power. So we have those set up. Oh yeah, we need the mineral drills and the water drills. So, oh, that's kind of freaking out. So there's those, and then water and minerals. And those should be able to go right down. Yeah, no problem at all. It's nice that these drills have so much reach. There's some mods that when they put these drills on, they never have enough reach. They're always worrying, am I going to be able to reach... Oh yeah, the mass driver, I forgot about those. It's a rock-based, yeah, it's a rock-based thruster. It uses mined asteroid goods to propel, used as RCS. It's kind of hilarious. Let's go ahead and just make sure that these go down far enough. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move those down just a little bit, just to be safe, because we don't want to get there and have it not work. So we got our top stage as 916 meters of delta V, which on minimus, that's more than enough to get us down. So what we want to do now is then make the launcher stage. I really should just make a sub-assembly with all this set up so I don't have to do it every time, but keep on forgetting to do so. Okay. Orbital engine. That's enough thrust to get to minimus. Kerbin. Enough thrust to get to minimus. I really wish Kerbal Engineer had a space option, because it never really shows space. Atmospheric settings. Okay. So we have that stage set up. Ah, and I forgot to install Space Y again, so I'm gonna have to jerry-rig the twin bores again to do this, which I don't like doing. It's just so much extra. Put that over there. Now we have need of these. Oh, not that. X. Did I get those on right? No. There we go. Oh yeah. I forgot to put the... One thing we're gonna have to do is... Where'd that go? Oh, it's on the second page. Is this logistics base. I completely forgot that I need to include this on it, but we're gonna have to hook it up to this, because this allows you to use on-base resources to power these little tiny probes, or little pods, to send resources up to another base or up into orbit in the same sphere of influence. The main reason I want to include it with this one, and the reason I have carbonite as the center container, is I can use carbonite as a fuel for this. And with this setup here, to have an unlimited supply to carbonite fuel source. But you can also, I could put this in orbit and have every base have a bit of carbonite with it. And you can set the logistics bay to take its fuel source from the location you're taking stuff from and use it to bring it to the other area. But we'll have to do another flight for that, because right now this thing's all kind of full up on it, which isn't terrible. It won't be too difficult to do another flight with that. I might do it off camera, or I might do it on camera. I'm not 100% sure. So we have this stage set up. We seem a bit short on fuel, so we have 1.82. We're gonna go ahead and throw, see if that's too much, because I just want to get enough to push me into orbit. And then, do we have any really tiny thrusters? Like the Separatrons won't be able to do anything on it. What are these little payload assists? Yeah, they might be able to do it, actually. Or they might just end up weighing us down a ton. We'll see what happens. Worst comes to worst, we can just redo the flight. So, sub and water miner. Save and launch. So with this, it will allow us to power our greenhouses, which the other base was set up to give us, well, what am I doing? So grab those engines. It was set up to give us the required resources to turn our base into a manufacture base, which is going to be useful, but with this one, it's going to allow us to actually use it as a long-term option. Without having this setup done, we'd have to do periodic resupplies of the main base, or of the orbital base, with substrate and water. Even though it is a closed cycle, I usually always end up screwing up the storage amounts, which means I have to bring more and more up. Well, with having our on-base, or on-planet mining facilities, it's a lot easier to resupply. It only takes a couple of hours of in-game times, and say life support failed. If I was using TAC life support, you have a total of 6 hours before that Kerbal's suit runs out of base resources. With this, it's not too terrible, because, or with USI life support, it's just they'll stop working, so I can just leave them there and continue on my way. Oh. We're gonna swing this back over. Okay, we're just gonna reverse flight back to field. I don't know why, but for the last couple of flights, I keep on forgetting to put control surfaces on this. It might be a product of my own forgetfulness. Well, it most likely is a product of my own forgetfulness. And we'll put, oh, no, not those. We'll put these up here. But, yeah, with the USI life support, they'll just stop working. But with this, with setting up all these bases, it means I can just send stuff to them, the stuff they need, and there is... Oh, shoot. There is a slight glitch with it. I don't know actually if it's still in it, but you can send what is it? Send electrical charge, which I can understand if there's, say, a dish that you could use to send that charge up, but there's no real dish on it. It's just like a little vehicle could send up, but it doesn't cost any. The cheaty part about it is it doesn't cost any power to do so. So you're pretty much using beam power, but it's not being beamed, I guess. One thing I'm going to do though is I'm probably going to try and capture an asteroid. I might do a video for it, because capturing an asteroid is kind of a difficult process, especially if you want to get a big one that has a lot of resources, which is needed for asteroid recycling tech. Let's slow down a bit so I'm not wasting so much fuel on being inefficient. But I want to get like the biggest asteroid. The problem with that though is I'm going to capture it, slow it down, and then I'm going to have to try and attach rockets. Either the best method would probably be to pull it into where I want to go, because I'm not pushing against the center of mass, which is kind of difficult to determine with asteroids because they're such awkward shape. I've had many issues in the past of trying to get an asteroid into an orbit around Kerbin. We're at 15K. Go ahead and put full thrust. But I've had issues in the past of trying to get an asteroid in orbit and ended up draining the asteroid of all the resources using the ship to do it, but that was using the push method. A pull method would possibly be a bit better because you're pulling the center of mass behind you and it's not going left or right, it's being, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not good with that idea of mathematics. I don't even know if it's freaking mathematics. Just the idea of doing that is just kind of foreign to me. But if, from what I remember the last time I tried, just the pulling method was a lot easier because I flipped around one of my ships and made it a pulling ship, and it ended up being able to do it fine. But I might be able to get 290. Yeah, I might be able to get a 2 minimus with a fair bit of fuel left from the main tank. Ooh, those are heating up. Ah, yes, those separated nicely. Ooh, two of them crashed together, but it is what it is. On a normal playthrough, that'd be like, oh, I just lost like 15K, but I'm using just sandbox, or not sandbox mode. No, this is sandbox mode actually. On a career playthrough, that would be a big loss, because these things are a couple $1,000s, and with the distance I am from the space center, I'd be getting like probably 80% back of the initial investment. With this stage, if I decouple this before I'm in orbit, I'd maybe get 10% back for it. Come on. So we got water, substrate, and carbonite. I didn't really check fully of the area I needed to land this. Like, I did start up the game and I looked around a bit trying to figure out like, okay, where I'm going to land, and I saw carbonite, and then I remembered that I forgot to install carbonite on this, so I could see the resource from Spray Industries' other mods, but not have the tools required to mine it. So I just instantly Alt F4'd out of the game and went and downloaded that, and then saw asteroid recycling tech. But once we get around the planet, we'll go ahead and try and find an area with substrate and water. They're usually in the relatively the same areas. With carbonite, it's kind of randomized. So like water and substrate is not going to be a problem. I might be able to find like a low concentration around them, or I could find a high concentration around them. I prefer a high concentration because if I'm gonna try and supply these other drills with this generator, not having enough carbonite's gonna be a bit of a problem. And that whole controller issue where it was causing me to roll is now gone. That was so infuriating for those videos. Trying to get something lined up and, oh, we're just gonna roll a little bit. And this time I'm actually gonna go ahead and get the ship in a stable or an even orbit instead of having it like 50k off like I did in the last few videos, which was stupid on my part. Oh, come on. Do I not have... Oh no, I do have enough reaction wheels to do this. And enough electrical charge. I completely forgot about this as a probe craft. But yeah, in the other videos, that whole roll thing caused quite a few issues. It would have been 10 times worse if it was pitch and yaw. But even then, like, just having that roll problem, it caused my ship to use all of its RCS trying to lock onto the prograde, normal, and radial stuff just to keep myself from spinning. So I had to do that whole orbital slowing method. Ooh, what am I doing? Oh, okay, I screwed that up a little bit. Let's just go ahead and go for Minimus. I forgot what I was doing there, and no, not that. Minimus, there we go. So yeah, that whole pitch and roll thing, or that roll thing, just, it was a weird fluke. I still haven't fixed my settings to remove that as a control option, which I might do later after this video, just because I like to have my controller plugged in so I can play Fallout and Cortex Command and not have to worry about it having to resync and all that stuff. Come on, pitch towards the target. And this is probably like episode 8, I believe, of this series, and I don't know, if you guys want to see something certain done, or maybe I screwed up somewhere, please comment in the video. I'd love to get a little bit of input and see if there's ways I can improve the base, or do you have ideas on what I could do next for the video? Because there's always ways to improve something, even if you don't recognize it. External input is the best input. Well, in most senses. And I might next week, actually, I might make Mondays a fun day where I just end up doing challenges. My prior older videos I did single stage to orbit, or no, I didn't do single stage to orbit, I did size 0 to orbit. Oh, frig. Nothing, or size 0 engines to orbit, and then just only size 0 parts. I don't even know if that's right. And then the Caveman Challenge. The Caveman Challenge, if you like KSP, I'd really recommend going to their forums and doing the Caveman Challenge. It's a difficult challenge, I will admit, but doing that allows you to be more efficient and understand the cost of your craft, because you can just play in science mode and have unlimited cash and just throw as much fuel you need on it to get into orbit, but then that kind of takes away from being efficient and not having to worry about having really real difficult time of turning your craft, having extra weight on the craft that you don't need, learning methods to be kind of, not really breaking the rules, but like, it teaches you to do stuff that is less than optimal for the situation. Like, I tried to assemble a craft off the launch pad in the Caveman Challenge, and it kind of worked, but we weren't allowed mods. If I was allowed mods, I would have used the Kerbal attachment system, which would have helped me with that assembling the craft, because when I tried to assemble the craft with just using the docking ports, the problem was as soon as the craft got off the ground, the two left and right booster engines that were going to get me into orbit bent inward, causing the ship to just waste a ton of efficiency, but not thrusting directly back, but thrusting... let's see. Hopefully I can get this fixed. But just causing it to thrust more outward, which only probably wasted about 10% of the engine's efficiency, but even that small amount in this type of scenario, like flying in space, is going to be a lot for a ship. It's going to really cause you issues. We're just going to go ahead and put up these panels. So we don't want to run an electric charge. That's by far the worst thing that can happen to you, especially with the probe. I could fix this quickly because we're still in this Kerbin's Sphere of Influence for 14 days. I could just jump down to the planet and use that logistics hub, which I could use to send electrical charge to it, but I don't really want to do that because it's pretty much like using HyperEdit in that sense with that electrical charge, because it gives it to it for free. There should always be equal and opposite reaction for what you do. One thing we might be able to do with this whole base is we could possibly go ahead and build a whole station with 2 mining rigs on it, hopefully with a lower amount of parts, because as soon as you get to around 200 parts you start getting a very large amount of physics lag, depending on if you're using 64-bit, but 64-bit is really old, or not really old, it's just not been updated as of late, so it's doesn't have a lot of the new stuff. But with just the 32-bit, you're gonna have problems such as just the game not having enough just not having enough RAM access for it, because I've had times where it's just like, oh yeah, I got a bunch of mods installed, and it then... okay, we need to move this out. No, wrong way. Just having like, I think it was like 5,000 patches caused my game to just snail along after a little while and crash. I think the most I had on this was 22 or 23,000 patches, which after a while it gets a bit insane with that many freaking mods. We're just gonna go ahead and... no, come on. That's the one thing I hate about this when you're not doing a full, or you don't got an orbital trajectory, you just got the all this stuff coming off of the orbit, it sometimes causes you issues with trying to grab the orbital line. It's like your visual cue for where the line is different than where the actual line is. Just gonna go ahead and lock onto that. So this will get us into an equatorial orbit instead of that north and south orbit we just had. Those are good orbits for satellites, but not for other business. kind of forgot to set up a timer for this video. I don't know how long I'm running now, but it could be a long video. So we're going to go ahead and circularize this orbit. Hopefully at like 25k. Get it to meet up with the periapsis. 29, 25. No. There we go. So that's not a terrible orbit, actually. So we're going to go ahead and warp here. I kind of wish Trigger Tech worked how I wanted it to. Like, Trigger Tech has the ability to let you warp to maneuver node, and for some reason that warp to maneuver node didn't show up in this version. I might be using a different version, which kind of sucks, but I can still use it. Like, I can set up a maneuver node with 10 minutes, or like it's at 1 minute right now, so 1 minute from that maneuver it would then activate that it's 1 minute from the maneuver. Or you can do seconds, hours, depending on how much time you need for the maneuver. If you're using ion engines, you're going to need a fair bit of time for it. But for some reason, the version I downloaded doesn't have that warped maneuver node thing. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, I forgot that the orbit is pretty small on this. I was thinking I was still outside of Minute of the Sphere of Influence, which had the mover like a day and a half away. And we still have 2,000 delta V left. So once we find an actual good landing spot, which hopefully shouldn't be too difficult. Let's move this over here. What we want is carbonite. Carbonite is going to be our friend. We want a deep yellow area. Let's turn that off. So right there, let's see. Substrate. No substrate. Why is there ocean? Intake, liquid. I don't know why there's not water on this list. I might have screwed up somewhere. Ah, there it is. Okay, why is it doing that? Why do we have... There's the issue. For some reason we have multiple items for the resources. It's just mainly an aesthetics thing, I believe, at the moment, because everything's the same. But it's not the best. So there we go. So we're at 19 and 38. I kind of screwed up that order because I was distracted. So we got substrate. We might have to land on somewhere less than optimum. And then we want substrate. So there's an option. No water there. Substrate. What about carbonite? So there's the best option. We want to get into... Oh, we can't go any faster. We're going to want to let that get into the sun. I'm kind of glad that I made this. Actually, let's look around. Water. Okay, water is going to be the rarest resource on this planet, so we're going to have to try and find a source of that. Actually, right there might be good. Okay. Let's quick save, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to go to radio, or normal, and then we're going to land right there, right in this area here. There's water's abundant there. Substrate, it's kind of light, but the main thing, carbonite, is a heavy resource in that area. With substrate, we should be able to get enough to supply a base. Like, filling this thing full of it, of the resource that we need, is probably going to be enough for like a year for the Kerbals if the system is not closed on the space station. But most likely we're going to have a closed system on the space station, so it's mainly going to be for emergencies or stocking up an extraplanetary craft to go to another planet. So we're going to bring this down to about here. Yeah, to about... yeah, right there is good. So we're going to go ahead and fly in. And... we're at 10,000. Now, we're right over where we want to be. Water's fine, substrate's okay. And we can throw those engines in the mix, which is nice. We're completely clued out, and that would be quite useful to stop us. And this area looks like the highlands, so the highlands are a little bit more forgiving than, say, the midlands. The lowlands are by far the best. Well, the craters are by far the best. The lowlands are the second best option. But a lot of Minimus, other than the crater bottoms, are kind of jagged. But the highlands plateau, making it a lot easier to land on them. We're coming down on the planet now. So we're going to have a good supply of carbonite, no uranite, water, and substrate. Substrate's going to be a little bit lower than would be best, but it's not terrible. This isn't going to be a resource base, so I don't have to worry about any of the other ones. Oh. Most likely we're at a height of... oh, wait. Surface. Altitude terrain, we're a bit of waste still. Okay, we have enough thrust left in those little two tiny engines to get us down there. And if need be, we still have 800 and... a little bit over 800 thrust if we need to hop to a new area because for some reason the map lied to us. Which I don't think it would. Map's a good person. So we're now 300 meters from the terrain, and that's coming crashing down. Come on, blow yourself up. I don't have to deal with that extra part. It's not gonna. Well, when the logistics base shows up, I'm gonna bring a Kerbal with it, and they're gonna go ahead and take care of that little problem that we got right now. Well, not a problem, it's just a part hog. And the ship has landed. Decent. So we still have 750 thrust. We'll go ahead and start the carbonite drills first because we want to start producing electricity. So we're still getting a bit of it. Ugh. We might have to be careful on... oh wait, no, these don't use... Oh no, they're gonna use that. So what we're gonna have to do in the next video is when we bring the logistics base down, we're also gonna bring it with more carbonite drills. Because right now this is only at 4.85 loads, so we could bring it down with, say, 4 drills, and each of these drills is using a percent. So bringing 4 of those drills down and bringing that up 1%. Well, let's actually stop this drill. Stop water drill. And yeah, they're using a percent too. So each of those drills is using about 0.1, yeah, 0.1 amount of the total carbonite. So with this, if we bring down more than enough drills for the other thing, like 4 of them, we should be able to get past the point where our input is higher than 1 than our output for the electrical charge. But that will have to be in the next video, because this video is probably about 40 minutes long already. I thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a good night.